Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Monday, April 7th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. All eyes are on the stock market as the fallout from President Trump's tariffs on dozens of other countries continues. What to expect at the opening bell and the president's remarks on the nation's trade deficit. And deadly spring storms are forecast to continue this week. From tornadoes to rising rivers and flooding, the areas most vulnerable to severe weather.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
This morning, stock shares nosediving around the world as higher U.S. tariffs and retaliation from China are triggering massive sell-offs. European shares followed Asian markets lower, with Germany's DAX falling 6.5%. While France's benchmark stock index shed 5%, and Britain's FTSE 100 lost 4.5%. Meantime, U.S. futures signal further weakness ahead of trading on Wall Street today. The futures for both the Dow and S&P 500 are down more than 4%, while the Nasdaq futures are off by more than 5%. It could be another rocky day on Wall Street as we head toward bear market territory. On Friday, the worst market crisis since the COVID pandemic shifted into high gear as the S&P plummeted 6%, the Dow plunged 5.5%, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 5.8%. Despite all this, President Trump is not backing down from his tariffs.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. We will be taking in over $1 trillion over the next short period of time. With the tariffs that I've already instituted, they're already in place. Now, what's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger.
Trump administration officials say more than 50 nations have already called about launching negotiations to lift the tariffs. On his Truth Social to start the new week, Trump posted, "We have massive financial deficits with China, the European Union, and many others. The only way this problem can be cured is with tariffs." The Trump administration must bring back a Maryland man who has protected status and was accidentally deported to a high-security prison in El Salvador by 11:59 tonight. The Trump administration had asked a federal judge on Friday to delay the deadline to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. But the judge ruled Abrego Garcia's deportation was a grievous error that must be fixed. The Trump administration has admitted to mistakenly deporting Abrego Garcia, who was under a 2019 court order not to be sent to El Salvador for fear of reprisal by a violent gang. Meantime, the Justice Department has placed the attorney who argued on behalf of the government Friday on indefinite paid leave for what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a failure to, quote, zealously advocate on behalf of the United States. Last week, Vice President J.D. Vance called Garcia a convicted MS-13 gang member with no legal right to be here. However, Abrego Garcia's attorneys insist he has no gang ties. Forecasters warn of dangerous conditions for days to come in the wake of a storm system that swept through parts of the South and Midwest from Texas to Ohio. Since last Wednesday, officials say at least 20 people have died across 7 states amid the outbreak of severe weather, including a 9-year-old boy in Kentucky who was swept away by floodwaters as he walked to the bus stop. Several people were killed in southwestern Tennessee after a strong EF3 tornado ripped through the city of Selmer on Thursday. In Kentucky, rising and churning rivers are prompting evacuations and warnings for people to move to safer ground, with rescues underway in flooded areas. Residents in some low-lying areas are preparing for potential flooding as the Kentucky River is predicted to crest at a historic high on Monday, testing the flood walls that are built to protect against massive flooding. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is touting the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine as the most effective way to prevent the spread of measles after a visit to Texas and a meeting with the family of an 8-year-old girl who died from the disease. 2 children in Texas have now died from the preventable disease. According to the New York Times, the hospital in Lubbock, where the second child died, confirmed the child was not vaccinated. The first child to die from the outbreak was in late February. At the time, Kennedy, who has a history of vaccine skepticism, appeared to downplay concerns about the significance of the outbreak. The measles outbreak has spread quickly since January in the South Plains and Panhandle regions of Texas, with close to 500 people infected, many of them school-aged children. Later today, President Trump will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The Israeli leader posting on Sunday that he will be talking with the president about these issues: the hostages that Hamas is still holding since it attacked Israel in October of 2023, the plan for achieving victory in Gaza, where a ceasefire has seemingly collapsed as Israel has launched a massive ground offensive in recent weeks, and the tariffs. Netanyahu saying he hopes to be able to help on the issue. He pointed out that he is the first foreign leader to meet with Donald Trump on the tariff issue that is important to the Israeli economy, and there is a long line of other leaders who want to do the same. Last week, Trump imposed 17% tariffs on Israeli goods. Israel had canceled its tariffs on American products in an effort to, quote, strengthen the alliance and ties between Israel and the U.S. Finally this morning, as the Florida Gators and Houston Cougars get ready for tonight's showdown on the hardwood for the NCAA Men's Championship game, the women's side already has its top team. The UConn Huskies blew out South Carolina Sunday to win their record 12th national title. The final, 82-59. It was the team's so-called Big Three players who really shined. Paige Beckers, Sarah Strong, and A.Z. Fudd put up a combined 65 points, outscoring South Carolina's total for the game. Strong had a double-double with 24 points and 15 rebounds. Beckers finished with 17 points, and Fudd had 24. They are the first trio of teammates to each score 100 points in an NCAA tournament since the 2009 UConn group of Maya Moore, Renee Montgomery, and Tina Charles. And Strong is the first player in history to have at least 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists in the national championship game. And it wasn't just a banner weekend for basketball. Hockey star Alex Ovechkin also made history this weekend, officially breaking the great one, Wayne Gretzky's all-time scoring record. Ovechkin netted his 895th goal during the Washington Capitals game against the New York Islanders on Sunday by beating fellow Russian Ilya Sorokin in the second period. It was the first time Ovechkin had ever scored on Sorokin, making him the 183rd different goaltender Ovechkin has scored on. Wayne Gretzky was there to congratulate Ovechkin on the achievement and participate in the festivities. However, despite the big win for Ovechkin, it was the Islanders who won the game, defeating the Capitals by the score of 4-1. It was an amazing spectacle. What a moment for hockey. Ovechkin and Gretzky, by the way, have now played exactly the same number of games, 1,487. Imagine that. Boy, you talk about coincidence. Those are your unbiased updates for this Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.